He goes, out of all my years of being judge and doing divorce cases, I have never seen one this explosive ever restore. You actually said to me this week, we're not newlyweds anymore. You can go do your thing. Like, I still ask him and tell him, honey, I'm going to go by the store. I'm going to grab some new shoes. Da-da-da. Are you okay with that? He's like, honey, we ain't newlyweds anymore. You don't have to tell me everywhere you go and everything you do. You know, it's okay. You can go alone. You know, in the beginning, it was like, honey, let's go shopping together. Let's do everything together. Let's, you know, everything. So are you in that new stage where you're still figuring each other out? You're in the household and you still figure, oh, I don't like that he just left the toilet seat up. Oh, I better tell him about that. You know, or what is that? Are you still in discovery? Or are you in the rehab stage where no matter how long you've been together, something catastrophic has now happened? Something that caused fear, resentment, animosity, anger, lack of trust has happened. Whether it was somebody from the outside came in or whether you just did it to each other. You weren't your word in the matter. You didn't have integrity in the situation. And you're repairing it. You're in rehab.
One good little thing too is, if I could add, is when you're in that stage, how you know you're in that stage is if your wife takes your phone and you question it. So if your wife grabs your phone and you're like, why should you grab my phone? Consider you may be in that stage of what we're talking about. All right?
It's like, a little distrust there. And then, or like he says, the preventative maintenance stage. We say buy and hold because in real estate we buy something and then we have to maintain it. And so the best way to maintain something is not to be reactive but proactive. So preventative maintenance, for those of you that got a warranty on your refrigerator, you know, and they got to come and check things every once in a while, or your AC, right? It's the best way. So in your marriage, you need preventative maintenance, things that you're doing every day to make sure that when something catastrophic out of your control happens, that you guys still have a healthy foundation to make it through. Does that make sense? Why don't you share statistics, because you have really good statistics.
Yeah, so, and then everything that we're talking about is kind of like a tool belt. Now, this tool belt looks extremely clean because it's mine. So,
and
I've literally had this for 12 years, and this is how clean it looks. Yeah, it's extremely clean. So, but what we're talking about is tools that go into the tool belt. That's all it is. It's tools that you could put in the tool belt. And the more tools you have, what happens? When you get to a home, the more times you don't have to go back to Home Depot, right? More times you don't have to come back and get more marriage counseling and more more all this, because you know you got your tool belt on. So that's all we're doing. We're adding to it. So here's true statistics. 51% of all first marriages will get a divorce. That's the average.
Horrible.
Second marriages, 75%. 75% of all marriages in your second marriage, you will get a divorce. Third marriage,
Google
91%.
This. Google this.
91% of all third marriages will get a divorce. So those aren't great odds, right? And we're in a generation now that I believe that's going to dramatically increase just because of technology and the rate that we're moving, that our generation and below is, I wouldn't be surprised it's going to be 65% on first marriages, because the phone is destroying everything. Because it's destroying, when you get on your phone, it's too easy. Oh, well, she's just a high school friend I met 5 years ago, and she's already private DMing you and all this other creative stuff that people do. Your attention span is gone. Men and women, you see all these beautiful pictures on the phone all the time because everybody's got a filter in their life, right? And so what happens is you're looking through a filter, but you haven't seen the real person. So what happens, you get stimulated, you know? Right here, in your frontal cortex of your brain, you have this thing that it's called, what is it called? Not endorphins. If anybody who is in the medical field, you say it, dopamine. So what happens is, in your frontal lobe on the left side, you have dopamine. Every single time you get a like or a share or somebody doing something positive, a little bit of dopamine comes out. But dopamine, now you know where else dopamine comes out? Alcohol, gambling, smoking. I don't know what you're smoking, but smoking, right? All these come out. And the funny part is, all of these items you have an age requirement for, but you don't have an age requirement for social media, right? So the reason why we're bringing this up is it's just real statistics. But if you put more things in your toolbox, and that's what we're covering, at least you know now. You know, you can't say you don't know. Make sense, guys? You getting some out of this? All right, perfect.
You know, we walked back into the courtroom holding hands because we had a hearing after we decided on the beach that one day that we were going to restore this marriage. We literally had come out of a course that changed our life. Yeah. Okay? And it wasn't just that one course, it was everything that we had done, plus God was doing something, right? He was in the midst of all of that working it. He had to create this extravagant story and allow us to make all these crazy mistakes so that we could sit here right here and share this with you. So we're sitting there and we're like, oh, how are we gonna make this work? I have no idea, but all I know is it's gotta be something completely transformed. Like, oh, and next week we have to walk in front of a judge and tell him we're no longer getting married after we've been dragging this on for a year. So we walk into the courtroom holding hands, and I will never forget the judge's fate. Well, first our attorneys, his and mine, and they were like, we hadn't had a chance to get a hold of our attorneys to tell them we're not doing this. So they were pretty upset. Not to mention we had injunctions on each other. We weren't even supposed to be around each other, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, we weren't talking about that.
We won't talk about that. Shh, don't tell anybody.
Obviously, I was right. So.
Yeah. And so we walk in. I won't never forget what the judge said. He was like, what is happening here? And we said, you know, Your Honor, actually I think you spoke. Your Honor, we've decided to dismiss the case. We want to try to work things out. And he goes, out of all my years of being judge and doing divorce cases, I have never seen one this explosive ever restore. I mean, we were talking about fighting over businesses, fighting over cars, fighting over custody of children, fighting over bank accounts,
houses,
everything,
several,
right? Yeah. And then for us to just walk in and say, we want to stay together. And we are highly invested in these high, expensive attorneys, okay? And so so he was flabbergasted because he was like, I've never seen this. Wow, let me know how this turns out. Like, you know, and I thought at that moment, I'm like, wow, we're gonna change the world. You know, like, think about it. You know, it's really about relationships. If you can take a relationship that was completely dysfunctional, chaotic, every type of situation you can think of, and mend it back together, there must be something powerful there. Yeah. So out of that, we created these tools. Our top, what are we calling our tools?
I would just say things that we're going to put in the toolbox. I'll keep it simple for right now.
Yeah.
It's the foundational items really for every single marriage. This is universal. We've literally have taught this to hundreds of couples, I mean, throughout the country for a while now. And every single time people's like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know that. So the very first thing, and you guys can write this down. Side note too, the funny part is when we went to court, the first person that took us to court over debt was both of our attorneys. Can you believe that?
They knew.
Yeah, first one, setting boundaries. Setting boundaries. You ever heard of the old saying, it's her way or the highway, or happy wife is a happy home, right?
There's some truth to that.
Kind of. So, but what comes up is setting boundaries is what's your negotiable and what's your non-negotiable. What I mean by that, have you ever sat down, like in business, we do this a lot, we sit down, what's your first name? Juan. How you doing? Juan. Any other person named Juan? Okay, only one.
Oh, two, right here.
We always got two. Dad or David? Anybody David? All right.
David.
So Juan, if we're in a business transaction, the first thing we're gonna do before we get in an agreement and say, hey, you're gonna do some work, we come up with our negotiables and our non-negotiables. What are you gonna do in writing and what are you not gonna do? What's your non-negotiable? So I can say, hey, I need you here at 4 a.m. That's a non-negotiable. Doesn't work, right? I'll be here at 7 or whatever that looks like. Then you have non-negotiables and negotiables. Does it make sense? Consider what we discovered is very few marriages have that in writing. What's my negotiables and what's my non-negotiables? Meaning, sometimes, for me, I love ironing. I don't know why, I was in the military a long time. I just love the iron, it's soothing to me. Anybody else like that? Or just, right? Thank you very much. I don't know what it is. It's just something about it. I don't know what it is.
Wait a minute.
I just
Real men iron.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So.
The women, I'm in trouble
So
now.
negotiable is, hey, I don't mind ironing the clothes, right? If it's your clothes, my clothes, like seriously, I have zero issue with it. But I do mind with a 16-year-old in the house that I'm not doing dishes. Period. The 16-year-old will do dishes. I've waited for this boy to turn 16 for 16 years. He will be doing these dishes, right? So that's taking out the trash. The 9-year-old does that, actually, right? So it's like those are non-negotiables. I'm not doing it, right? Period. Also, for me, cutting grass. Don't get me wrong. I used to cut grass. I had a lawnmower business for a long time. But now, at where I'm at, I'm like, no, I'm not cutting the grass. We have a big yard. We can afford it. It's a tax write-off for us anyway. I'm not cutting the grass, period. Non-negotiable, right? So for Bridgette, non-negotiable, waking her up when I get up. Meaning, I get up at 4:30 in the morning every day.
Don't you dare.
It's a non-negotiable. She does not want to get up at that time. Am I making sense?
Yeah. Okay,
Go ahead.
so yeah, he's doing the funny part, right? But now let's get really serious about, I'm always a serious one. You can tell who the funny one in the house is, right? So there are non-negotiables that are just not okay. And I actually have them framed now.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you some of them.
Oh, you have them framed?
Of course, I come prepared.
You take a picture of my frame. Tool belt. You can read it.
Write this down. Here we go. And then you guys, again, take what you want from what I'm saying. You could steal it, whatever you guys want, and make up your own. Okay? So here's one. Choose what you're committing to and move forward. Choose what you're committing to and move forward. That's one non-negotiable. So, hey, we've got to choose what we're committing to, but we both move forward. What is it as a family that we're moving forward to? Full transparency in our personal relationship, including financially, household, and kids' decisions. Yep. You cannot wing it. It's just like a business. Try to wing a business. It will fail, period. I wish more people would look, because and I get it, not everybody had the opportunities to have your own business or a successful business and stuff like that. And so there's a lot of things you start learning. I've been just doing this for so long, and I see it correlate so well into marriages. There's got to be full transparency in a great business. You have to be transparent. You know, if you have a great accountant, and we have adults here, a good accountant will tell you this: you got to get naked with it. Not physically, but you got to tell me everything. Where's all the money at? What's actually happening? They always say that.
Yep. No secret accounts and all that crazy
no, you
stuff.
Can't do
We've
that.
been there. Okay, we had bank accounts. When I say bank accounts, right? And it's not to like say, well, what is to say? It is to say how big of an issue it was. So deception starts when you have secrets. You know, when you start to pull money from this account and move it over here because you're protecting yourself. That's immediate. You might as well get divorced, because there's no trust, there's no transparency, and there's no unity. And now everything we do, we talk weekly about our finances. We talk weekly about what's happening. And so we have to sit down, and I know, are you gonna really go through the whole thing?
I'll just give you two more things and that's it.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing.
Some of these are private. Like, geez, you literally took a picture of my thing.
No, that's how we roll. All right, so the other thing is this: unlimited love. Period. No matter what. And then I'll tell you one more. And then again, you guys could add whatever you want to it. So, ultimate trust. Always.
So we brought some forms with us, and I'm going to need someone to go out and get them. But we'll pass them out at the end. We actually, Franklin and I actually wrote a course called Co-CEOs that we kind of just put on the shelf. And it was a course set written for couples doing life and business together. And as we were preparing for this, I was like, there's some really good worksheets in that course that I'm gonna bring and hand to you guys. Because then you can go home and work on these things. And one of them is, how do I discover my non-negotiables? So women and men, there'll be categories, and it'll prompt you to think about, okay, this is a non-negotiable for me.
Got it.
Okay?
All right, so next one, no scorekeeping. That's actually one of the tools in the tool belt. What is scorekeeping? Scorekeeping, what I truly believe, because I'm a man, is that women are great at scorekeeping. Like 15 years ago, do you remember you looked at this person's side? Anybody else like that?
Totally.
Right? You look at, say it again? Yeah, I've been watching it, kids, and all this other stuff. Now, vice versa. Men, we do the same thing. You remember, I make all the money in this house. You remember back in the day, I paid for the vacation that we went to that you didn't even like, right? You remember when you went and got your nails done and I was cutting the grass? I didn't even have a shirt at that time. You remember that time? All this stuff. Remember that time that I had 3 dresses for you and you couldn't choose which one, but I bought you this one, I bought you this? That's called scorekeeping. You cannot score. Why are you laughing? You can't scorekeep. No scorekeeping.
Scorekeeping could also sound like you always do that.
Yeah.
No, you can't load the dishwasher. My favorite one. You can't load the dishwasher because you just don't do it right.
Yeah.
You never do it right. Remember last time you did it?
Yeah.
Remembering all the things that they do wrong, never allowing them another chance. I'm talking to the women mostly. We do this. Never really giving them a chance. We hold their past against them. You know, guys, they are capable of loading the dishwasher the right way. It's just their choice.
So again, no scorekeeping at all. Because what happens is, it's almost like you have to be forgetful. You have to be, it's almost like you have to be very fast to love, and you have to be just as fast as forgetting. Because for us, we do want to scorekeep. Because you know why? We always want to take that thing out whenever we need to and say, hey, you remember this? But what happens is that just builds
Animosity.
Yeah. It just builds, something inside is like, it's not going to help a marriage. You know why? Because it doesn't help any relationship at all. Do it in business, it does not work. Try to do that. If you're my business partner and you're going to really play that game, I'm like, just FYI, we're not going to be in partnership that much longer. Because what are we doing to move the business forward? What are we doing? How are we going to do it forward? That's forward. What do we got to do in the past? Okay, fix it. Let's go forward. Right? Another thing is, love is a choice. Having a perfect marriage is a lie. It's just what works for you and what doesn't work as a couple. Another thing to add, it's just like this. All right, I got a perfect marriage. Right? It's not gonna, don't worry about it. So I got a perfect marriage. I'm good to go. It's nice and shiny tool and everything else. But then what happens is you try to drill it, battery's dead. So you got all this nice on the surface, you're good. But your battery's dead. Make sense? Are you guys getting something out of this? Bridget, you want to add?
Yeah, love is really, when I really got the concept as love is a choice, it removed a lot of my reasons and excuses for not loving this man. Because love, for me, had to look a certain way. I was abandoned by a father. Men were not good for me. Abused by 3 men after that. Men, to me, were dangerous and not to be trusted ever. This man taught me to trust. This man taught me what unconditional love really, truly means. And through this man, I got the unconditional love that the Father. So if you look at that, you could be the gateway, healing for your wife to get what true love could look like. Because for somebody like me, it's got to be tangible and real. Because in my world, everything is just not real. Like, I don't live I didn't have a regular childhood where I could have an imagination and imagine that there were great people in the world. I didn't even play with Barbies, okay? Because that was just weird. So for me, I had to see something tangible. I had to see somebody love me unconditionally. In order for me to even get my relationship with God was very similar in the sense that there was a God that could love me unconditionally. He was my gateway to that love. Does that make sense? And a lot of people say it opposite, but I guess it just depends on where they come from. And so when I heard love is a choice, it removed all the conversation of, well, I'm just not in love with you anymore. I'm falling out of love with you. That's a cop-out because love is a choice. If I choose every day, I'm gonna love you. Yes, you hurt me, you broke my trust with me, but I'm going to love you unconditionally through it because I believe that on the other end, there's a healing not only for me, there's a healing for you. Exactly. And not only that, God had showed me a dream of this man 30 years from that day. And he showed me this powerhouse man, and I kept going, when are you going to bring that man into my life? When is that going to happen?
I'm right here.
Yeah, I know, right? We're halfway there. We're halfway there. Look, this is great progress. So, so when you really get love as a choice, it has you recreate every single day. Yep. Every single day. And I think you talked about that a minute ago about setting boundary, or what was it? Recreating every day. Recreating every day. When we say that, it sounds kind of woo-woo in the world, but recreating every day is, you might have done something yesterday, but today is today. Today, I can forget that yesterday we got in a big blown out argument, but today's a new day. Today we can actually go out for a picnic. Today we can love on each other. Today we can talk about those finances. Yesterday we had a huge fight about it, but today is a new day.
Yeah. And it falls right into this. Write this down. This is another pillar. Be committed and not attached.
Ooh, my favorite one.
So, I'm committed to the marriage, right? But I'm not attached on how it needs to look. So,
That's a big
Pastor
one.
Eli. So, give me something that you're working on right now. I have no idea. Just throw anything that you're doing right now that creates some kind of income or something that you're working on.
A project.
A project, any project. Perfect. Okay, right there. So building out the church. Perfect example. So you're committed to building out the church, right? That also means that you're not attached. Meaning it needs to be Pastor Eli's way. No, this is the only way the church needs to grow is this way. That's called being attached. Attached people, you go broke quick, emotionally. Because no, it's got to be my way. If he's committed, hey, this guy over here, he's got a busload of people. He's got a bus. He said that he could bring a homeless. Man, this is awesome. Yeah, that's great. This other guy came over here. He said he's great at ministry with marriage. Oh, man, that's awesome, dude. I'd love to talk to you. You're committed to growing the church. You're not attached that it needs to be Pastor Eli's perfect way of growing a church because I'm amazing with great hair and glasses, right? It doesn't look like that, right? Right?
He likes your glasses. Watch.
But is this making sense? It's the same thing with a marriage. I'm going to have this perfect marriage. But are you committed or attached? Well, it needs to look this way. Why? Because you saw it on social media? You saw him take that picture from a good angle? You saw that filter they just put on there? No. Or are you attached? It needs to be your way. Or are you committed? Commitment means sometimes you got to massage your feet. Sometimes you need to just help out wherever you could help out. Sometimes you don't need to watch TV. Sometimes you need to put your phone and turn it off. That's commitment, right? Commitment is like, hey, I'm committed to my boys. Well, what does that look like? Well, that looks like every single Monday and Wednesday, I'm at my youngest son's baseball. Every single Friday and Saturday, I'm at my wrestling match with my 16-year-old, just like I was yesterday morning, right? Commitment means if he's got wrestling practice and he's got to drop weight, if you know anything about wrestling, they got to drop weight sometimes. I told him, I said, every time you drop weight, I'm dropping weight with you. I mean, you got to be in the sauna, I'm with you. You got to go run, I'm running with you. Don't get it twisted. These legs do not move like they used to in the military. But I'm still out there, feet hurting and all. He doesn't know that. I got compression socks all the way up to my neck. It doesn't matter, right? You think I'm like, she knows I'm telling the truth. I'm like, because everything's hurt. Right? He doesn't need to know that though, right? Because I'm committed. I'm committed. He doesn't need to see this. You know why? Everybody's always got, are you committed or attached? I don't need to come out with the smallest violin in the world. I don't need to have these excuses with my son because now I'm teaching him excuses. I don't need to have this small, in the military, we say the smallest violin in the world is what? Right here, right? So I carry this all the time. You got an excuse? Oh, my husbands, men, oh, I can't do that. You don't understand my schedule. Please, look at this and keep playing it in your mind. Right? Women, oh, you don't understand what I've been through. Okay. Make a choice. You chose the marriage. You chose the love. You remember what you promised to God? You didn't promise it to him. You didn't promise it to him. What does it say? What does it say? Through sickness and through what? Thou will till what? Till death do us part. That's a promise I didn't make it to you. I didn't make it to her. I never made that promise to her. I made it to him. So remember that. And I tell this to my boys all the time. You're going to come up with excuses. Don't ever give me an excuse. This is it, right here. You already made that choice. Are you committed or attached?
And I love commitment because God honors your commitment. Everything shifted for us everything when we said, yes, we're going to keep this marriage. It's like God said, thank you. It's about time y'all got your acts together. Now let me bless you. Yeah. And it's so crazy. Like things that unbelievable, like where I was shutting a business down, God was giving me 3 more.
Yeah.
Where,
or God, hey, I don't know how this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? No exaggeration. We're $250,000 in debt, and consider that all your income just drains. Meaning you're not making that much anymore, and you owe. So anybody ever been negative broke? Yeah, you look at your accounts, you're like, I'm negative. Like, I ain't even broke anymore. Like, there's a lower point than that, right?
Less than less.
Why y'all laughing at me? I mean, but it's like, that's how it was. And it's like, and there's one thing I want to add. It wasn't just that we were committed. And you guys could take this, steal it too. What we decided, there's no back door.
Yeah.
There's no back door.
You say that all the time.
Yeah.
Like every time that we get in a little bit, I'm like, I need my space. I need, what is it?
I need time, or I need.
What is our thing? I just went, what?
No, so she'll take off, or I'll take off, and I'm like, oh, we need it. Yeah, I need a timeout. And I'm like, I just want heads up. There's no back door.
Yeah.
There's no back door. You could, look, we've already fought for a year before. I know how it is. If you gotta take a month, take a month. I'm gonna always be here. You gotta take 6 months, no problem. I'm here.
And when you've been through something catastrophic, you now have memories. So you don't think that those memories are gonna show up every now. That's why he always has to say, there's no back door. Because he knows that when we get upset and we let anger and resentment in, we open the door for the enemy to come attack you, tenfold, whatever the word says, right? And so I now open this door. He has to come in and rescue me, and like the protector that he is, there's no back door. Because it's in my mind. As soon as he says that, I shift. Oh, yeah, no back door. Okay, I gotta get off this. I gotta get all this off of me and forgive and love and just do and take the action to fix the situation and find out why that I'm upset. But it really is a mind shift. And so to have the power to do that with each other.
It takes work. It takes work.
Yeah.
And Pastor, I know I'm over. 2 more minutes, and I promise we're good. I apologize. I'm big on that when speakers come too, so
yeah.
Just FYI. The last thing is also, and this is the last pillar, is don't let money be the head of your household. So what we discovered was this: blaming each other for the financial decisions you make, nothing good comes out of it. It's just, what are you going to do right now moving forward? See, I was that person. I was that make wrong person. I was the one that would scorecard like crazy. I'm like, why are you spending $125 on makeup? You times that by 12.
Pretty important.
That's $1,700 for makeup. You're going to wipe it off, right? It doesn't make. I was like, what if I bought powder, I threw it up in the air, and just said, I'm going to wipe it off? No, it didn't make any sense to me. No, I'm not judging. I'm just saying.
Well, now they make permanent.
Yeah, no, but for me, I would, that's only, and then, hey, why are you buying stuff on Amazon? Right?
Oh,
I'm like, it's 2-day shipping, I can save all the time, right? Yeah. Do you really need another pair of glasses? I was like, you don't understand. I've been waiting for these, right? Right? So it's like, but that's how it is, right? So what comes up for me is, you cannot let finances be the head of your household. But what you can do is you've got to be straight with yourself. You got to have that, what we call money talks. You have to print out everything, look at each other. Okay, what's our agreement? And if they break the agreement, that's fine. There's no back door. Remember, this is a partnership you're not getting out of. So you got to make it work. In a business, me and Pastor are in a business and things aren't working out. I'm like, all right, there's a separation agreement. You know, we can legally in a business get a divorce, right? In a marriage, you can't. So you have to make it work. So what does that look like to make it work? Have a conversation. Well, you don't understand how she is or he is when we're having these conversations. That's great, but there's no back door. So you got to try again tomorrow. Well, you don't understand. Tomorrow didn't work either. That's great. Give me a second. Let me pull this out real quick. No. Okay, do it again, right? The only way you could get really good at building houses when you're horrible at it, my first deal I lost $17,500. I was horrible at real estate in the very beginning. That was my life savings. And that was at the time I was making $9,000 a year in the military. And I just lost $17,500, 2 years of me working. I wasn't good at it. But then I said, okay, I can't quit. Okay, I got to do it again. Okay, I got to do this again. I got to get more things out of my tool belt. Okay, I got to get a tool belt. Okay, I got to understand this. How do I hammer stuff? I don't understand this. I got to try it again. What if I screw up? Then do it again. And you just keep doing it. And through time, you will get better at it. Same philosophy in business as well. I screwed up. You don't understand. My first business, I lost all this money. That's great. Do another one. Well, you don't understand. My second business, I lost it with my uncle Theo. He messed up everything. Well, Tito's gonna, you just pay him back at Christmas, I guess. Well, you don't understand. I got it. But the only way you can move forward in any kind of marriage that we discovered was especially you have to have these pillars and you have to constantly be working at it. Because that's the preventative maintenance. That's the maintenance on your home called marriage.
And decide, I know Franklin said there's no way out. There's always a way out. We know that there is. And in business and in personal life, there's always a consequence for getting out.
Yes.
So yes, he read the statistics earlier. The world makes it really easy to get out. Mm-hmm. But they forget to tell you the consequence for getting out. And it's not worth the consequence to get out.
Because the funny part is if you have kids, no matter what, you're still going to be with this person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like no matter what. If you don't have kids, it doesn't matter. You have a tattoo of that person on you for life.
Yep.
Right? It doesn't matter. It's always hilarious that people are like, oh, I'm just getting out. You don't understand, Frank. I hear this all the time from my friends. Oh, I'm just getting a divorce, man. You don't understand. It's like, do you not think your second marriage is going to be just like, it's work. It's work. It's period. It's work. If they were going to call it easy, they were going to call it like just be single, but you can't have kids, right? You can't leave generation. No. And even being single is work. It was hard when I was single. I had like 5 different girls. It was hard. Right? A lot of work. Good Lord. I'd rather be
him straight. You have a horrible story about that. We had 2 dates going at the same time.
We don't need to talk about that. So anyway, good Lord. Anyway, so. But anyway, so those are the 5 things, and we want to leave with this. You want to read this out?
This is great. Yes, a scripture we all know.
So all of our pillars actually can join into one scripture.
That's it. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy, and it does not boast. It's not proud. It does not dishonor others, and it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered, and it keeps no record of wrong.
So guys, thank you so much. We're honored to be here.
Yes.
Hopefully you got something out of it.
Thank you,
Pastor.
Thank you. You did a great job.
Oh, no problem. Thank you very much.